Wonder what
the Democrats have
next election
famously never utilized the same. Like when you see like what the right does when they're in power versus the left never takes advantage of anything, like any power they have. They
don't try to jail.
They will like
candidates and pull them off.
Like what's just happened in the last like barely month is like nothing the Democrats would have like ever taken advantage of. They don't. They get into power and then they say, well, shit, guys, we only have 2/3 of the government or the entire government. What are we supposed to do?
Yeah, they wouldn't they wouldn't like openly try to remove an opposition guy from ballots and try to jail him for years, run knowing campaigns of false information. They wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Can we talk about how the mayor of New York, we did last week, but like now it's clearly true and everyone's saying it. The mayor of New York is clearly being squeezed.
Yeah. So the judge rejected the deal or something. I every time there's legal proceeding stuff, I understand it like halfway, but I guess Trump pressured his DOJ to drop the case for a Democratic mayor who was taking bribes and like illegal campaign contributions and more. And Trump was like, hey, we got you on the squeeze here for taking these bribes and illegal campaign contributions. Why don't you start doing the things we want, which is basically allowing ICE to come in and violate some New York state laws. And he's like, if you're going to let me go personally and get away with these bribes, I'm down. So now you have like a crooked president working with a crooked mayor to achieve their
allegedly. No, what I love, I'm sure you remember
getting illegals out of New York.
That's the plan.
That's what they're trying to do. But what actually happened is the judge was like, I'm not accepting you dropping this case against a man who there's all this evidence against. That seems like there's something unscrupulous going on here. And I'm not an attorney, but I think that's the current state of affairs.
I'm less offended by that, potential breach of law than I am by the just shameless breaching of our law of millions of people being in our country illegally. Like that's more offensive to me. That's more of a problem that needs fixing.
This is fun though because it's right in our faces and everyone knows it. So the Eric Adams is the mayor in question. I think he's on Fox and Friends, which is their morning show, and they're like, hey, there are people, Mayor Adams, there are people who suggest that there's some quid pro quo coming here. And he's like, and it reminded me so much of Clay Davis from The Wire, who's this crooked black politician. He's like, oh, that's ridiculous. All them accusations ain't nothing, but that's liberal propaganda. They don't even know what gender should be in what bathroom. And you think they know who I paid, when I paid, what I paid. I tell you what I paid. I pay attention. And this country's a changing. He didn't say any of this. This is just what I would have said if I were him.
Okay.
Good speech. I like it.
I'm voting for Kyle at this point. Black Kyle.
Black Kyle would be president by now. I got to him so much.
I don't think felons can run for president.
They wouldn't have arrested. They would have left me alone if I was black. I'd have been a hero. I'd have said that ganja was cultural. It was part of my religion.
You were
Rastafarian, it's clearly that, and I'm whatever I hear that a judge said this or that, I'm like, okay, well, there's a bigger judge though, and then after that there's another judge, right? And then after that we go to that court where Trump's basically in charge. Like every time Trump's challenged, I wonder, like, is this the sort of thing that can go to a Supreme Court? Because then Trump wins.
Yeah,
everything can.
I think it can be. And I'm just saying this because if it's the DOJ who's doing it, then it's the federal Supreme Court who would be the highest court, right? If it was the Attorney General from New York, then I would say no, but that's not the case.
I see Reddit articles that are so misleading, and I understand why people from the left must be like just gobstruck because you keep reading these articles that are from left-leaning media, and they'll say, Trump shut down in this district court. It's all over. And they'll be like, oh, thank God. It's all under control. And then the next day you're like, actually, that judge has been fired, and his wife got cancer last night, and the new judge says that Trump can do whatever he wants. Like the next day, there's always some superseding power that Trump has a lever to pull. And the other day, I don't know what it meant, but on the our law subreddit of Reddit. They were like, "This is the biggest presidential power grab in American history."
Oh shit! Reddit said that?
Yeah.
Holy cow! That's serious.
I didn't know where to go to get any fair and balanced news on what he did or
I find
the legal
myself in that
ramifications
position
of it.
sometimes.
Well, then you should default back to the most heavily censored, highly curated forum online for the discussion of politics.
I feel like I need to hire. I feel like I'm signing a contract. I should hire a lawyer and ask him about what Trump signed to get like I need somebody who's completely impartial and is protected by lawyer-client privilege to tell me the truth about what Trump signed yesterday.
I agree with both of you. Our law. I didn't join that subreddit, but I guess I gave it too much attention, and now it's constantly getting fed to me. And some of the people are clearly attorneys and subject matter experts who I hope I can trust. They are attorneys on Reddit, right? So like Kyle says, like, where is a better source to get that? It's not Ari Fleischer. Is that his name on MSNBC, that attorney, right? I don't want to go there. I don't want to listen to Hannity or Tucker. Like,
no.
Where is truth being told?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's hard to find. This everyone
podcast
has an agenda. This
Right
podcast is where you find,
it.
this is where you find truth, because we haven't even consumed enough of the propaganda to know on either side what
we don't know anything, so we don't know the fake stuff.
I'm just feeling
I'll tell you,
wind.
like I really like the messaging from this administration, though. That's what I like. I like the show so much. Kristi Noem, I don't know what she is, the border czar or something. She's all about the border, seemingly. I see her down there in like tight jeans and her hair and makeup done professionally, moving like fences into place with guards and stuff. And one of her quotes was like, it was about illegal criminals. And she's like, "We're gonna hunt you down. We're gonna find you. You can run, but you can't hide." And then that Tom Homan guy comes on, and Taylor, you nailed it so well. He looks like that Tower of London executioner who's just praying that he'll get permission to use his new pincers. "Oh, my lord, may I use the new pincers?" No, Tom, not the pincers.
May
Just clap him around a little.
Doing his ogre voice. Yeah, that's like he's got ogre jaw.
I love that.
I wonder
guy.
what they're going to do with the mass deportation, because they made a big show out of it's seemingly a couple hundred deportations right as they hit the ground. And now it's like, I'm making this up in my own mind. Have they realized that mass deportations will wreck agriculture and construction? Home prices are already an issue, right? So if you just take out all the illegals and now
we have a shit ton of homes that need filling, that would help.
I hadn't looked at it through that lens.
It would help.
I was talking about home building, which would obviously be heavily impacted. But if they're living in homes that would get resold, then yeah, maybe it puts some supply on the market. Kyle says no.
A lot of
What is your
supply.
thought, Kyle?
You don't want to live in a place that rents to illegal people, do you? Probably a reason they're renting to illegal people. Probably not a reputable establishment, landlord type situation. I know where I rent from, you wouldn't fly. I don't know what it's going to do. I just want them gone because it seems like the right thing to do. I don't want them snatching up taco truck vendors necessarily, but I love them getting all these criminal guys out. And I like the Tom Homan guy. I love the attitude and, again, the messaging of the administration, where there's no punches pulled. There's no qualms about offending someone with the way they refer to someone or how aggressive their language is. It's always aggressive, biting language. It's the way that people talk on like a construction site when there's no time for bullshit or fanciness. It's like, give me that hammer. It's like nobody's offended. He needed that fucking hammer. Look, like it's that kind of back to business kind of attitude. And that's what I like so much every day when I watch whatever news I intake, where I watch a lot of CNN and Fox mostly now. And that's what I like. And when Tom Homan comes out and he's scary, or when JD Vance goes over and he gives a speech to the Europeans and shits on them, I loved that. I loved that speech. He went over there and he's like, the enemy isn't China and Russia. The enemy I fear the most is the enemy from within. The people in this country stomping on free speech like a Stalinistic regime. And they got their panties in a twist. And everybody over here is like, oh, Trump's upset our allies. Yeah, he's upset them. What are they doing? They're in a meeting coming up with the money he wants from them.
Yeah,
like that's what they're doing. They're like,
they're going to be upset because we're telling them in effect, hey, this little gravy train, this enormous gravy train where we've been bankrolling you for years and years and years, we're not prepared to do this any longer. Hopefully,
when you say bankrolling, you mean we're investing heavily in our military, so they don't have
heavily,
to.
Where like you look at the NATO
he wants 5%
breakdown, it's fucking ridiculous how much more we carry. And then,
that's true.
Of course, they're not going to cheer that. They're having their feet held to the fire.
They've exported. That's not the right term. They've outsourced their security so that we do that job instead. We protect them, and then we have the burden of an expensive military, and they don't. This is Europe I'm referring to, and Mexico and Canada, and so I can see that, and I can never have it explained to me what we get in exchange. They say we're selling security. In exchange, we get like soft power. And I'm like, oh, what do I get with soft power? Is that like thoughts and prayers? Like it's not actually helping me at all.
It's like, who needs soft power? People who don't have the largest military in global history. That's what countries need to invest heavily in soft power.
So what happened this week is Zelensky refused to sign over $500 billion worth of minerals to Trump. And so Trump has thrown him so far under the bus that you can't drag him out anymore. He's like, this middlingly successful comedian is now running this country into the ground. 3 years now, 3 years, no elections. You know what his approval rating? 4%. 4%. I hate to say it, but it's 4%. And why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't it be 4%? His cities are laid on their sides.
He's more popular than Trump is in his country.
His buildings are crushed. It is. I don't know about internal polls, and I wouldn't look. I'm a Ukrainian supporter, but I wouldn't trust Ukrainian internal polls.
Fair.
No, it's well known as like one of the least corrupt states in all of Europe.
Thank you, Taylor. Thank you.
Like they don't do shit like shut down elections or ignore referendums on regions that don't want to be part of Ukraine.
Well, they're not supposed to have elections right now, right? If they're in the middle of a war, it's in the Ukrainian constitution not to have the election right now.
So they're in Saudi Arabia. The Saudis invited everyone. I'm sure everybody got together, and you invite these people, and I'll invite those people. And Russia shows up, and the Saudis host, and the United States shows up, and Ukraine is not invited to the negotiations. And of course, Zelensky's mad about that. And in the same speech that I've been paraphrasing, Trump says he's mad he wasn't invited. You've been there 3 years. You could have negotiated any day of that 3 years. You've had 3 years to negotiate. Now you can come if you want, but no, you're not invited. Make your own way.
If this is 3D chess and they just agree to the minerals, like Kyle said, he threw him so under the bus that he can't pull him out. And I would agree if it was anyone but Trump. Trump will flip, right? Do you remember how fucking far he threw EVs under the bus? He was on the campaign trail every single day, ripping on EVs, ripping on electric boats with the sharks and the drowning and the whatever. Like he hated electric everything. Musk says, hey, I'll donate to your campaign. Not another peep about EVs. Maybe EVs are pretty cool, right?
Spoke about him today.
There's that post with Trump and Elon where he's like just totally shit talking him as he's like standing next to him. And he's like, he was on his knees, begging for money.
That's old Trump, right? Remember that? He was on his knees, begging me, etc. Now Trump and Elon couldn't be tighter. So the idea that he couldn't pull Zelensky out from under this bus, anyone but Trump, I'd agree.
Let me tell you what he said today about vehicles, and specifically, I was listening to a speech when I played Baldur's Gate. It's a wonderful mixture of media, so I highly recommend it. And he said, he said, I think he was talking about how Biden's economy was slow, and then we're going to fire things up. You're going to buy cars. You're going to buy American cars. You can buy an electric car. You can buy a gasoline car, buy a hybrid, whatever you want. I'll tell you what you don't want: a hydrogen car. Those things explode. You know what? And let me tell you, when they explode, they find pieces of your body in the trees. He said this. He said hydrogen vehicles explode. And when they explode, they find your body parts in the trees.
What explosion wouldn't send your body into the trees?
Well,
what's unique about that?
Gasoline.
Dude, gasoline cars explode. Electric cars, I don't know if explodes the right term, but they sure do burn hot.
Yeah, they burn real good.
None of them are safe in the event of a fire.
Hydrogen cars explode, though. They've got a big tank of hydrogen, like the Hindenburg hydrogen. So maybe he's got a point. I don't think he's making it up. He wouldn't do that.
Fair. Yeah, he would never lie.
He wouldn't make some shit up off the top of his